My name is Jack Penniman, and today on behalf of the PFL, I'm joined by Dean Kieran from the Mount Lawley Footy Club. Dean, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having us on board, and thank you to the PFL for giving us the opportunity.
No worries. And first thing, we got to mention the sponsors and the like. So the sponsors are for the Hawks, independent laboratory suppliers from you guys. For nearly 20 years, they backed the Hawks, and proud to have you in their corner. Just mention a little bit about independent laboratory suppliers.
Thanks to Marty Saunders and Andrew Bairstow, the directors of Independent Lab Suppliers. Nearly 2 decades of sponsorship for us, so really appreciate them for jumping on board for nearly 2 decades. That's extraordinary stuff. So Marty was a former league coach and also a life member of the footy club. Independent Lab Suppliers, it's your one-stop shop for all mining and commercial laboratories globally and locally.
Sweet. Thank you very much. And thanks, obviously, to Marty and Andy for all they do at the club. We'll go straight in. And obviously, the club was established in 1963. So 60 years of history. How was the club formed in those early days?
Like all good stories, it probably starts at a pub with a couple of blokes and having beers. So, Johnny Hogan and John Broomhall were playing out at Maylands Footy Club in the earlier days. And in 1962, they've decided to have a meeting at the Queen's Hotel, a nice establishment just down the road in Beaufort Street. It was actually on the front steps because both John Hogan and John Broomhall were underage at the time. So along with Frank Wiggins, who was an administrator as well. After their meeting, they decided to form the club. John Broomhall was the captain coach for the first year. They also got in Peter Cooper, who was the secretary and treasurer, and Frank Wiggins was the first president of the footy club.
Sweet. And any of these legends, are they all still involved at the club to this day?
So the inaugural players of that 63 side. So we actually won a premiership in the first year. The club was put into C grade, so they've won a flag in the first year, and have been promoted to B grade after their first initial year, and the club hasn't been back below B grade ever since. A couple of the players from the inaugural premiership side still down for past players days and heritage days. The likes of John Hogan, who has now become a Hall of Fame member of the footy club, Royce Herbert, Trevor Staniforth, who's also a Hall of Famer and the first 300 game player of the footy club. John Broomhall, Hall of Famer as well. And then we had the likes of Len Dutton, Trevor Moran, Terry Walsh, and the other old timers like John Preshaw, Jeff Doe, Bob Mack, Frank O'Rourke, and Peter Needham. See a lot of them down at the footy club.
Yep, a lot of great names there, I'm sure.
Yep.
A lot of legends of the club. When did the club start expanding into, multiple teams? Obviously, you have your league team, then when they start getting the reserves and Colts and the like.
Yeah, so it probably wasn't until 1968 they entered a Colts side and a reserve side in 1969. So they won a reserves premiership in 1969. So that was E grade. And that same year in 1969, they drew in the grand final.
Drew in the grand final.
But
extra time, golden goal.
Back in those days, there was no extra time, so it had to come back the following week. But they lost a replay, but they still got promotion to A grade. And by the time it came to 1979, the club was fielding six teams, including 2 Colts age teams as well.
Good young group in there.
Yeah, so within the 10 years, they expanded from 2 sides all the way to 6 sides.
Yep, great effort from the club. And obviously the club is, in some great real estate, aren't they, around in Mount Lawley, just around the corner from here. And, how did that play a role in, the community vibes and the sporting hub for the community back in those days?
Obviously it's a bit of a different demographic to today. Obviously in the the 60s and the 70s, it was probably more family based, and obviously it's a bit of an aging demographic now. It was prime real estate. There was a lot of established sporting clubs in the area too. So we had the Perth Baseball Club there. There was also an Inglewood Footy Club. So they were part of the Sunday League and the WA Football Association League. And then we also had Mount Lawley Premier Grade Cricket, all in Inglewood and Hamer Park, where we established ourselves there as well.
Yeah. Did all, if you know, all of the, different clubs, they all have players sort of playing the same sports as well?
To be honest, I don't know, mate. That's something that probably had to ask some of the older guys, but I'm not privy to that sort of information.
Obviously, expanding a footy club is a big thing, and you mentioned, having the teams go through in about 10 years. What was that like? Do you know of, getting the grounds and that sort of thing for footy clubs? It's always a tough thing.
Yeah, of course. So when you're fielding multiple sides and then you have overlap of seasons, so footy goes into cricket and to baseball, so obviously oval availability is like premium, it's up to the committees to really work together. Obviously being a new club on the block and vastly expanding pretty quickly, there was obviously a bit of tensions and like who takes priority for what, so obviously something had to give. There was obviously overuse, overcrowding. So the Inglewood Footy Club ended up switching between Sunday League and the WA Footy Association. They ended up folding in 1983. So Mount Lawley Footy Club, we moved to Hamer Park from Inglewood Oval in 1977 and ended up building our own club rooms there. And then the Mount Lawley Premier Grade Cricket Club relocated to Breckler Reserve in 1978 and have been playing there ever since. And our current tenants, the Perth Baseball Club, they remained at Inglewood Oval.
Yep. And is that a great relationship as well with the baseball club sort of working everything together?
Yeah, so we'll touch base on it a bit later in the podcast. But it was kind of like a swings and roundabouts moment where we've come back and have co-tenanted. So we've co-tenanted now for about 3 years and the relationship's really great at the moment. Yeah,
and that's always really important for footy clubs, isn't it? Most clubs, have sort of a great era, or most sporting teams have a good era in their history. We've seen the likes of North Beach and the like in Wembley as well in the old days. What about you guys? You had 20 premierships in 16 years between 77 and 93. It's pretty remarkable for a footy club. Just tell us a little bit about that time for the footy club.
Yeah, so 20 premierships in 16 years. It's literally 2/3 of all of our premierships that are won inside that window. So it's a pretty remarkable thing for a bunch of these guys that have won multiple premierships. They've created friends for life. But obviously things were going so well both on and off the field. That also included 8 A-grade premierships, including a four-peat in 1985 to 1988.
It's a great effort.
So it equals the fourth most A-grade flags in the PFL behind Uni sitting up top with Wembley, North Beach, and we're equal with North Fremantle. So that's something that we hold in very high regard. We were named a champion club in 1983, 1984, 1985 and 1987. So they're probably rare feats. You usually see clubs just win them once and don't feature for a long, long time. But for that period throughout the 80s, we won that award 4 times. And off the back of that, we also got named Colts Club of the Year in 1984. So we're actually producing homegrown talent within our local government area. It was also, off the back of the Colts Club, we also won back-to-back A-grade Colts flags in 1980 and 1981. In the 81, to see our second Colts also won a flag as well. So off the back of, that Colts group, that just flourished and made the club for what it was in those days, because they all just stuck together and won a lot of flags together.
Yep.
I'd just also like to mention in that era as well is 1985, our C-grade reserves, which was coached by the late Bob Ford. They went through and had an undefeated season.
Jesus, that's a lovely effort. Great effort from them. So who else was, leading this charge in that era? The coaches, the captains, some of the big names. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, so 8 A-grade flags and 5 different coaches. So there was obviously changing at the helm at the top. So the late Hall of Famer Phil Tiny Turner was our first A-grade premiership coach. And then there was the likes of Ralph Needham, who's now a Hall of Fame legend, who also coached the state team in that period. Then there was also Greg Hyde, who was also a coach of the state side. And then Brian Perrin and Phil Cronin. So they shared the load, and that was a main driver for our success as well.
Yeah, and a little bit about the captains and the great players. Just tell us a bit about them.
Yeah, so there was Steve Hughes, Dennis Ireland, and Brad Dunn, Lee Sprylan. Funny story about Lee Sprylan I'll touch on a bit later. Anthony Williams, Jeff Horton, and Phil Piggy Warren. They were all our league premiership captains. So same with the coaches, like a lot of change at the helm at the top, and share the drive for success. Just touching on Lee Sprylan, he won the CJ Jamison medal in 1984. Yeah, but he was playing for North Beach.
Wrong club.
So we were able to, obviously he's played a lot of state footy as well. I think, so he captained the state side, and there was obviously a lot of Mount Lawley guys in the state team, and they were able to drag him across. And so he ended up playing 81 games, played multiple premierships as captain. He's a life member, and obviously was a part of the back end of that four-peat.
Yeah.
And he was captain during that era.
Yeah. Obviously, there's going to be some, good stories from this era and such a, esteemed time for the footy club. What accolades did you guys have? Was there any other, league best and fairest and the like?
There's so many accolades and stuff, but I think speaking to those guys, the group was just so competitive. So I recall speaking to Lukey Matthews, and he was a Hall of Famer. We inducted him in 2023, and he said the Thursday nights and Tuesday during match sim was probably harder than Saturdays.
Yep.
Because everyone wanted to play league footy. Everyone was just so competitive. It was, bring your mouth guards to training sort of stuff. There was casualties, like people were going in that hard because they didn't want to relinquish their spots. So I think just as a whole, and just everyone just wanted to be successful, and they didn't care. Like they trained the way they played, the old cliche.
Yep, great cliche too.
And there was obviously a bit of casualties, a bit of blood spilt at training sessions during match sim.
And that's a big part of a successful team, isn't it? You want to be training how you play in the cliches, as you said. Any other success stories you can name?
Yeah. So we also had, during that era, we had a couple of association medalists through there. So Dennis Ireland, Martin Cartier, and Justin Cook all won A-grade association medals during that era.
Yeah, great for those players. Success on the field, it's not just a chance thing. It doesn't happen by chance. There's a lot of work that goes in, behind the scenes. People working, behind the curtains. Who was one of the most influential people of that era? Anyone to name, and big figures for the club.
Well, obviously, it's not down to one sort of person, but I'll like to single out one person that really epitomises what Mount Lawley was at that time, and that was Trevor Oscar Howard. So during that era, when they won those eight A-grade premierships, and we went on a successful run, he held all those executive positions at one point in time. So he was president, vice president, he was secretary. Then he also went on to be the WA Football League president for 7 years, and also vice president for 6 years. He was an exec member of the Australian Amateur Football Council. And he was also president, selector, and secretary and treasurer of that council as well.
Yep.
And he was also the Waffle GM for 5 years as well. So he's not only a great asset for our club within that period, but he was very highly sought after at other higher levels as well. He was obviously awarded life membership for the Mount Lawley Footy Club. Was inducted as a Hall of Champions member for the Perth Footy League. Is inducted as a Mount Lawley Hall of Fame as a legend. And he's also the PFL B-grade Best and Fairest Association medal winner is named after him, so the Trevor Howard medal. Just for his contribution to footy in general. So, hats off to you, Oscar. I know you're going to watch this too.
That's great. Always need a pump up, don't you? State footy was big through the 80s and 90s, especially for the amateur footy and the like. The peak of amateur footy was in this era, the 80s and 90s. With Mount Lawley being so successful, were there many players that were part of these teams the state rep teams?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the club had probably over like 30 reps during that era with one of our most successful players, Brad Dunn, was 7 reps. So yeah, 8 times. So he was 1 time as a Colt and 7 times in the seniors. So yeah, the Australian Amateur Footy Committee organised national carnivals. So they often involved Victoria, WA, the SANFL, the South Australian Amateur Football League, and like Tasmania or New South Wales, the likes. So yeah, the WA was one of the mainstays there and invited to those tournaments. So yeah, from us, Lee Spryling captained the state team in 1985. Bill Armstrong also captained the side in 91. And in that year, WA won the title, and that was the only time WA have won the title since in the history since 1936 when the National Amateur Footy Committee was established.
Yep. Great. You mentioned earlier that Ralph Needham coached the state team. Did anyone else coach the state team as well from the club?
Yeah. So there was Greg Hyde and also Hall of Fame member Brad Dunn, and coaching the state side at one point in time.
Great. During those carnivals, obviously best and fairest and for the game and things like that, all Australian amateurs. Mount Lawley has 7 of the all Australian players, which is the most of any club in the land. Do you know that for a fact, or
unconfirmed? But we'll if anyone can prove us wrong, we'll make a claim.
Yep. Yeah. Stand on that hill.
Absolutely, yeah. So 7 all Australian amateurs. Yeah.
Yep. 1997 is one of the biggest years for the club. All teams in the grand final and finishing off the job. Just run us through that year. Starting with the Colts as well.
So 97, the club was relegated from A grade after the 96 season. So the playing group was pretty determined for redemption. The club was also able to maintain a lot of its players and a lot of its depth. The Colts was coached by Doogie. Life member. He also played a vital role in a number of other premierships or the footy club throughout the year. So captain of the Colts of that year was Ben Rocky. He would have end up going on and having a 300-game career, life member, and then also had a good stint on the committee as well. He was also the PFL Administrator of the Year in 2011 when he moved into the secretary role for the club. Had a few handy players in that Colts team. There's some familiar names like Anthony Grover.
Oh, yeah.
Who will go on to have a pretty illustrious career with Fremantle, playing 202 games. And it was, Womber. So Damien Wombat, Damien Anthony. So he's still serving on the committee as well. So I think he's had probably about a 30-year affiliation with the footy club. So he's come in as a Colt and has never left. He currently still holds the sponsorship manager on the committee. And it was Daniel Pryor, DP or Deeps. He'll go on to be a life member and ended up coaching a Colts team as well. They ended up beating Whitfords in the grand final in a pretty low scoring affair by 4 points that year.
Lovely. And the reserves as well?
Yeah, so the reserves was coached by life member and Mount Lawley great Muggsy Wademan. So they had a plethora of A-grade players from the golden era who were still sticking around the club, so they're still playing reserves footy. The likes of Leaky Matthews, Piggy Warren, Andrew Brady, who's one of our club umpires still. So
it's a great effort.
Hats off to him. I was nearly 40 years of involvement for him. Johnny Baker and John Grusowitz. They ended up winning the grand final by a goal against Balcatta that year.
And the league side as well. I'm sure they would have had a lot of good players in that team.
Yeah, the league team that year in 97 was probably coached by probably our best and most decorated player, Hall of Famer Brad Dunn. Obviously the club retained a lot of the players from the relegation season. They had a core of 92 A-grade premiership league players as well. So they were still playing good footy. The likes of Grant Ryan, Kevin Copeland, Lee Cahill, Jeff Horton, and games record holder Andrew Chapman. So Chappie was actually brought into the side into the grand final after our ruckman Bill Lichtenberg got injured in the prelim final. So it's one of those sad luck stories. But Chappie ended up coming in and getting the job done. The club's depth was tested that year.
Yeah.
So obviously, clubs go through injuries and it can very easily throw you off the horse, and it can go south pretty quickly. So Dunny mentioned he went through 49 players in the league side.
That's great effort.
So when your depth's tested and you're still able to get wins on the board, still able to put a final series together, and still able to win a premiership at the end of it after going through 49 players, it's a pretty extraordinary club effort. But to also win the Colts and also win the reserves in the same year, that's a club first mentality, and that's what obviously every club's trying to strive to do. If it wasn't for probably the Colts coming up and playing league footy that year, the club probably would have struggled as well, especially getting wins on the board. So they end up having a nail-biting 4-point win against Belcatta, clean sweep in B grade and returning back to A grade the following year.
Yep, great effort. You mentioned in those teams, you have a lot of people who are still at the club today, and a lot of people who have had long years of service. Is that something you guys really pride yourselves on, and having players from past eras, still sticking around and helping the club out today?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's about giving back. I think that's what volunteering your time back into the club is about, giving back the opportunity that you were presented as a player. So I think, a lot of guys, a lot of volunteers that we have around today, guys that have played in successful areas and they just want to give back to the footy club, and whether they're a manager or whether they're a runner, whether they're helping out behind a bar, or coming back and cleaning up, or just attending events, just being there and being present back at the footy club, and spending money over the bar. Even that's enough. Giving back a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Nicknames. So obviously footy clubs and sporting clubs have a long history with nicknames, and I'm sure some of them we can't tell the stories of on here. Just run us through some of the great nicknames of the Mount Lawley Footy Club.
Yeah, so obviously a few that we can't mention, we could try to keep it G-rated. So, so Adam Italiano, you're off the hook. So there's obviously one that really sticks out for me, and that's the Jish. So short for magician. Back in 2019, a coach tried to drop him each week due to poor performance, but he magically appeared on a Thursday night back on the team sheet just because of injuries. Eventually didn't get dropped. So the Jish. We have another one here, a new player to the club, the Eclipse. He's too hot to look at. So Dory, head like Finding Dory. The Fridge.
It's a bit stiff, isn't it?
The Fridge. Everyone's got a fridge or a plugger. But we grew this into Fisher and Peichel. Stiffy, surname Hardiman.
Yep.
And Boner, last name Carbone. Goldilocks, well, that's pretty self-explanatory, that one. The Spray, can't kick and doesn't shower.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, should be given the bath as well. It's always a good one.
Yeah.
Any more? Is that?
A few of the old timers, a few of the past players. Softy, his last name was Hardman. Combi, his last name was Van. Skywalker, this was big with Star Wars, so his first name was Luke, so they called him Skywalker. Scrooge, a bit of a tight ass when he was a treasurer. Noodles, skinny legs. Meat Pie was known to put a few away. And when he had his son, he automatically got the nickname Party Pie. And the Moon Man, so his last name was Armstrong. Obviously, first man on the moon.
Yep. Great. Yeah, we always love good nicknames, don't we?
Footy clubs are very creative.
Yep.
Yeah. So obviously this is G-rated. There's a few out there that are a bit naughty. But,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can't go with those. Maybe on the after hours version. 2009. The A grade stint in the late 90s was short lived after that 97 flag. With 2 years, the club was relegated in 99 as well, and next decade was spent in B grade. The 2009 season proved to be a pretty eventful one. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so massive coup off the field. So the current captain at the time was Damon Buzz Barros, and he had a very handy brother who just retired from the Waffle by the name of Shane Barros. Dual Sandover medalist, dual Swan medalist, and past former captain of the Swan Districts Footy Club had just retired. Obviously wanted to come over and play some amateur footy with his brother, and that's how it first started. Obviously pretty handy and experienced pickup.
Happy to have him in the team.
Absolutely, and with that obviously comes other players as well. So like just the main draw of getting Squitter Barros into the side. Others were soon followed. So
one brings two.
That's it. One brings two, two bring three, and so on and so on. So a few handy players end up following him from Swan Districts. Former AFL players by the likes of Garth Taylor, and who played for the Freo Dockers, and Daniel Wolfe, who played for St Kilda. And then there was other Swan Districts players that also retired at the end of that year as well. So the likes of Michael Johnson, Johnny Morrison, and then there was a former Best and Fairest winner as well, but Sean Starkey ended up returning to the footy club as well. I was at Swannies at the time as well, and wasn't getting my liquidity ice cream at the waffle level, so I ended up coming to the club as well. So that's how I came to the Mount Lawley Footy Club.
Great.
Off the back of joining forces with the Swan Districts boys that moved over there.
Yep, lovely. You mentioned a few of the players there. Who was coaching this team?
The coach was Dave Young, and Wayne Young was his other brother, and he was an assistant. The team got off to a pretty shaky start that year. Obviously bringing in some top name players. So there was other people that came to the club as well. Stephen Kelderman, Mark and Troy Stephen. Junior Troy ended up going on to be a club captain and a 200 game player. And then, also the local guys, so like Cam Grant, Phil Hart, Dean Cahill, Andrew Marovic, Luke Jones, Brett Robinson, who was a two-time association goal kicker, Owen Heisman, and Luke Young. So obviously bringing in a lot of guys with experience, and there was probably a high expectation that we're going to click and absolutely like white B grade. That really wasn't the case. So we didn't really, I wouldn't say gel together, but we got off to a pretty shaky start, and I think the turning point was like round 3 where we lost to Swan View. So it was massive dressing down in the rooms. Circle up. A lot of like, this is your potential, and these are our expectations. Bring your mouth guards to training the next Tuesday. We're pretty embarrassed as a playing group. It gets pretty raw. Obviously there wasn't a lot of finger pointing. It was just we got an opportunity here, and we need to take like full advantage of it. And let's really crack in.
Do you think maybe the fact there was, like yourself, so many new players to the club, did that sort of impact maybe gelling together and, getting off to that hot start you might have wanted?
Yeah, potentially. Like it was obviously a lot of those guys are coming from waffle level and waffle standing. Sometimes you think it's like just going to happen and it's just going to click. And then other teams that are working together as a team kind of bring you down to their sort of level. So you got to wear that, and then you got to adapt, and you just got to make what works for us. It was, bring you back to the point of, obviously the training standards have got to lift. So it was no holds bar. It was like the 80s again. Like your match sim on Tuesday and Thursday goes up a notch. I remember copping an elbow from our captain and getting split open. Getting like 12 stitches. So so there was just a reminder, hey, we're here to play, and you better put your best foot forward, otherwise you're going to be missing out.
Yep. And that's a great culture to have at the footy club again, like you mentioned back in the old days where it was that hard training, trying to train how you play. Was that something that really started to lift after those early weeks?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, most definitely. The coach was pulling players aside as well. Like if we're having a poor performance on a Saturday, he'll pull you aside on the Tuesday. So you better train properly on Tuesday, Thursday, and you're in the gun. You don't perform on Saturday, you're out. We'll get someone else that can play your position. I've had that conversation as well. So no one was shown away from that. It was everyone. That whole group knew what that playing field was like.
Yep. And how did the second half of the season go? Did the team start to pick up and really play to what they were hoping to?
Really gained momentum. I remember coming into July, I was like, we're in a good patch here. We're sitting second on the ladder, and then it's pissing down like it's the middle of winter, right? And
deep dark depths of winter.
And we're at Hamer Park. It's muddy, it's boggy, and I remember having your match sim and stuff, and then our coach just turned around to us and says that we're doing a mini preseason, and it's July, so we're like 5-6 weeks out from finals, and the emphasis was, I want you guys to be the fittest side in come finals time. Sports scientists might have a different way about it now with all the extra loading in mid-year and stuff like that, but we were all in on it. There was obviously a few casualties along the way with extra loading and soft tissue injuries and stuff like that. But I remember doing our match sim and then doing like 200-meter sprints, like 400 meters, like oval sprints and interval running, and like we were absolutely cooked. But we signed up for it. We're in it together, and I think that gelled us moving into a finals campaign.
Yep. And how did that finals campaign end up finishing?
Yeah, so we finished second behind Wembley, equal on points, but only by percentage. So Squitter, Shane Barros ended up winning the Trevor Howard Medal, Association Best and Fairest. Also won best on ground in our grand final as well. So we ended up beating Wembley by 6 points. I remember it was just an absolute brutal game. It was goal to goal. No one really having an ascendancy all day. But I think, that preseason block probably felt like we had an edge because we it might have been the most contributing factor to us winning that day. The game could have gone either way, and we were just so lucky to be on the right side of the ledger.
Yep.
I do vividly remember our fullback kicking a goal in that game as well. So when your fullback kicks a goal in the grand final, I think the winning
pretty up and about.
Especially then when it's your lockdown defender. So your deepest defender kicks a goal on grand final day. I think the percentages of winning that game are absolutely pretty high. Yeah. So, we'll also put it down to that. And I've heard it for the last 15 years as well from him. So, Cam Grant, cheers for that goal, mate.
Do you think maybe that mini preseason sort of gave you guys maybe that mental edge over Wembley, sort of thinking that, okay, we are fitter, we're going to run out this game? Maybe that was the chat at three-quarter time. Was everyone sort of saying, oh, we're going to run out this game where we'll end up winning? Yeah,
so it was definitely an air of confidence. They were a great side too. So they had like Hall of Champions inductee, Pickley, rolling through there. So he was kicking goals from like a goal kicking association medal, like playing out of a midfield during that era. So he was an absolute gun. But they were a well drilled side as well. So like we're pretty evenly matched up. but yeah, like going into the last quarter, you got to have full of confidence going into it that and you are going to win this. So we'll put it down to luck and probably the goal from a fullback.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
got us there.
Goal for the fullback always helps. So after that season, 2009, promotions, being sustainable through A grade, how did that next couple of years sort of finish off? Mid-table in 2010. How did the club go through the next couple of years in A grade?
Finished going up to A grade in 2010. It was, it was like North Beach were coming off their 11 year streak of playing repeat grand finals, coming our way with 9 premierships. So we knew it was going to be pretty tough. But yeah, it was like we knew that we had to improve another 25%. So, we ended up, through past experience, we knew that we had to improve. Because if you wait for games to catch up, or you wait to settle into a grade, you're 0 and 5, and you're on the back foot already. So, we knew that we had to hit the ground running. We went out, we recruited. There's no finding your feet period. So we ended up recruiting Clint Gribble from Swan Districts. And then we also recruited David McKinlay, who just won an association best and fairest out at Brookton Pindley. Also with some Swan Districts ties there as well. Finished the season in 2010 equal 4th, but missed out and by percentage and finished 6th with 10 wins and 8 losses. So it was a pretty even season that year. So North Beach that year ended up winning another flag. So that completed their 9 premierships out of 11 grand finals. After 2010, like we knew that we could probably match it with the A grade clubs. Leading into the season, so 2011 Clint Gribble ended up winning the association best and fairest, so the CJ Jamison medal. And Dave McKinlay ended up winning the A grade goal kicking association medal. The club finished. The league side ended up finishing on top of the ladder in 2011. So they came up against Uni in the grand final. It's a team that they beat twice during the year as well, and we beat them in the second semi and went straight through into the grand final. So we're pretty confident, pretty favourites leading into that grand final, and there was also a draw in that year as well. So we're pretty confident leading into that grand final.
Yeah, and how did that grand final end up going?
So the semi-final result ended up being flipped on its head. So Uni ended up winning that grand final by about 42 points. So it was total opposite to what it was. So it was pretty devastating. So like grand final defeats can either motivate you, or they can also like have desperate. It can also leave some scarring.
Yeah.
It can be a ripple effect and stuff as well.
Yeah. In that 2011 season, obviously some clubs these days, Wembley and the like, have gone up and down from B grade to A grade. Did that sort of staying in the, mid-table for that 2010 season, staying up, did that help then for the 2011 season? Maybe, you said giving a bit of confidence and knowing that you can, stack up with that grade, A grade?
Yeah, so I would say it would boost your confidence, because once you go up from B grade, like we've experienced that recently as well. So once when you go up, you got to improve. Otherwise, you need to recruit, you need to improve your game plan, and the players need to buy in to say, hey, this is either a real deal, otherwise they can go south really, really quickly. So definitely I think finishing mid-table in 2010 was probably like a confidence booster as well. Say, hey, we can actually mix it here.
Yeah. You mentioned the scarring after that grand final defeat. The club then went through a bit of a difficult period through that next few years. What happened during that next couple of years after the grand final defeat?
Yeah, so obviously we had an aging list. So yeah, we had a lot of retirements from the 2009 Premiership guys. So yeah, we had a turnover of coaches as well. So we had like Garthy Taylor coach the side, David Johnson, Josh Wooden, and Lindsay Dicko. So yeah, after that defeat, there was 3 years that ended up leading to a winless season in 2015 in A grade, which eventually we were relegated from A grade after the 2015 season. So that also with the team not being successful on field, it also has an impact like off field. So the social scene is probably not as good. The attendance for social events and things like that around the club were probably not as good. But yeah, then in B grade there was 3 years where we've made finals throughout that time, and we eliminated in straight sets. So like we went down a grade, but then we just plateaued like in B grade as well. And then in 2019 we ended up missing finals altogether. During that time there was also 5 consecutive grand finals defeats in our lower grades as well. So morale around that was not too good either. And then along came 2020 and the COVID.
Great year.
Great year on everyone's list. I'm sure it's rated very highly. But yes, obviously a reduced season that year. It was a bit compromised as well because we only had 9 teams in that B grade competition. And we only won 1 game that year. Lost a lot of close games. So we ended up finishing last. So it was not by chance, but with the PFL bylaws that were changed for that year and only 1 team going up and 1 team dropping down, since it was a 9-team competition, we ended up staying in B grade. So we're very, very lucky to stay there. But for the circumstances, it's what it is.
Yeah. You were captain during this period. What was that like, sort of being the big dog of the club, being the leader and, trying to keep everyone down and, having a bit of fun even during a dark time of the club?
It was pretty difficult, especially that 2020 year, we'll peel it right back for what it is. Like footy wasn't a priority for everyone. Everyone was just trying to live day by day. There was a lot of anxiety around with family members, especially elderly family members and stuff like that. So you had to try, be a motivator and you try to push forward to if a season is going to, are we still prepared for this? But then I kind of look back and I said, I kind of needed just to be a friend as well to players because footy wasn't their priority. So I didn't want to push too hard on that and push too hard on a footy sense. It was more, hey, I'm a leader within this community. I can have an impact by just being present and just listening. But as things started to gather momentum, we said, how can we best move forward with all of this? So we come up with the idea of sticking within the government rules that were implied at the time. So we're training in groups of 5, then in groups of 10, and then we're just doing circuits around Mount Lawley, Inglewood. We'll just map out a map and just have coaches at each of the ovals, and we'll just spend a 10-minute station and then move on to the next oval, and that was our pre-season in the middle of April.
Yeah, it was good fun that year, wasn't it? I remember definitely for us it was hard, training and stuff like that, and trying to sort things out as you were mentioning with the trainings for teams and trying to do circuits is a great way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, and social media as well. So keeping tabs and keeping check on everyone. So we had chat groups and stuff, and like we'll post and workouts and things like that.
Yep.
It was a strange time.
Yeah, it was definitely a strange time. During this era, there's, obviously, not some great times, but had to be some great players and some other shining lights. Just a few stories from there.
Yeah. So, Jeremy Evans, Jezza. So he ended up winning 3 Brad Dunn medals. So that was a club record. So he joined Brad Dunn and Kim Combi-Van as a 3-time Brad Dunn medalist winner. Wes Morden, he ended up playing 200 games. Like, he was a life member and a Brad Dunn medalist. So, his dad, Peter Morden, he's down at the club all the time as well. He was a 300 gamer, so combined father-son duo, they combined for over 500 games for the footy club. And, probably arguably one of the best players that I ever played with was David McKinlay. Like, his CV, he was quite astonishing.
You love the pump up.
Yeah. So, D-Mac was, he often done this like with about 3 or 4 guys hanging off the back of him. Like, the opposition teams had a mantra: you stop D-Mac, stop Mount Lawley. And often it was true. Like, he won games off his own boot, and like his CV. So for us, he played 179 games, 431 goals. Was an 8-time leading club goal kicker, 4-time association leading goal kicker, 2-time best and fairest, then won an association best and fairest in 2016, and was also a club captain in between 2016 and 2018, and in 2019 he was an assistant coach. So I took over the captaincy from him. It was obviously massive shoes to fill because he was just such a leader on the field. Like, he was an imposing figure, and he just led by example. And it was, ask anyone that played with him at Mount Lawley, and like, we can throw him up there as probably one of the best amateur footballers that the club's ever seen.
Yep. Women's footy. It's a big thing these days in the PFL. A lot of women's teams in the PFL, with 53 clubs now fielding women's teams in the comp. Mount Lawley was one of the leading clubs back in the WA WFL days. Just tell us about that and when the club entered the WA WFL.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know this, but the Mount Lawley ended up entering a team in the inaugural season, so in 1988, and the club ended up winning a premiership in that inaugural year. So but they didn't field a side after that.
Just 1 year.
Just one
and done.
One in, win a flag and done.
Yeah, great effort. The club now has the C3 team in the women's. When did the club rejoin and renominate for the PFL team? Yeah,
so the club renominated in 2022, obviously with the back of new facilities, so gender neutral facilities, and obviously that was utilised as a marketing point. But then we also had club great and life member Bill Armstrong being inspirational with getting the women's program coming along, and it's currently coached by Damien Cato. What started as having a go sessions is turned into something pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I know for my club, the women's team has sort of really lifted the club up a lot. How has that impacted you?
Yeah, so it just reconfirmed our values as well, like as a footy club within the community. So, the attendance on game days has gone up. Social events attendance has gone up, and just a diversity and like in general, but also diversity on the committee as well. So we've also got women's players on the committee, which is great, which is important for their insight for club operations.
Yeah. Footy clubs are, great for the community, as we've mentioned a few times today. How important is it for, you guys, who have you sort of aligned with and your charities, and what sort of fundraisers have you guys done over the years, and who have you partnered with?
Yeah, so we've partnered with the Mount Lawley Inglewood RSL, so obviously with Anzac Day and Anzac Round. They've been a partner for over 6 years now. Members of the club go down to the service at the Mount Lawley Inglewood RSL. That's been great partnership. Breast Cancer Research Centre WA. So we've just had our Ladies' Day a couple of weeks ago. 110 attendees. Great raffle. Been a partnership for the last 6 years as well. And then we've also partnered with MND WA. So we like to not put all our eggs into one basket. We like to branch out and reach out to multiple non-for-profits and partner with them.
And what sort of impact do you think the Mount Lawley Footy Club has had, with the community around, and it's a big part of Mount Lawley, the big footy club. What sort of impact do you think it's had?
We kind of we're aware of like our footprint within the community. Like we've got a demographic of men and women, then the age demographic as well. So like our outreach is very important, and we know if we align with something that we're going to be far outreaching within our community.
Yep. The NAIDOC jumper, you've brought it with you. Oh, yep. You brought it with you today. So the PFL and AFL do a great job with the Indigenous community and the like. NAIDOC around for the PFL is always a big thing, and designing the footies as well. Just tell us a little bit about the jumper and what it means for you guys.
Yeah, so it's obviously Sir Doug Nicholls round as well in the AFL, and the PFL have done a great job with aligning like Indigenous culture and having NAIDOC round. It's definitely a great incentive. So our jumper was designed by a local Indigenous artist, Kevin Binder, along with some current players that were around in 2021. Denny Young, Trey Simpson, and Lance Mongu. The boomerangs up the top there, they've got 8 dots in them. So the 8 dots represent our 8 A-grade flags. They're our weapons, our team. So the circle and the hawk, so that's our formation of the club. That's our central meeting place with the U shape. So that's our people just sitting around the central meeting place. The 2 circles either side of that main circle, that's Hamer Park and Inglewood Oval. So that's our 2 playing areas. The centre circles leading up into the hawk, that's our 7 circles. So that's representing our 7 All-Australian members. And then the circles on the side, so there are other premierships. So 21 other premierships at the time that was designed, outside of A grade. So it's a great looking jumper, great colours. And Life Without Barriers were our sponsor for that as well. So thank you, Janet Hayden, for the sponsorship. And looking forward to the league guys and the C4 guys running out with their NAIDOC jumpers. And
lovely. Just tell us a little bit about some of the prominent Indigenous players that have played for Mount Lawley.
Great Indigenous players, some great household names here as well. So Garthy Taylor, Desi Headland, Anthony Grother, Dale Kickett, even put on the boots for us as well. Casey Sibasaido. They're the AFL experienced guys, but we also have some great local guys as well. So Shem Garlett, Ernie Taylor and Shane Taylor in the 2000s, and then Gary Jackamara, Dennis Mayer, and brothers Wally and Morris Maguire, prevalent in the 80s and 90s.
Yep. Footy clubs don't, run themselves, like yourself, a big part of the club. Do you want to give any shout outs to some big volunteers that have, been there over the journey?
Yeah, 100%. So obviously National Volunteer Week this week as well. So it'll be rude not to acknowledge some big contributors that have volunteered their time. So off the top, Tony JJ Fenoris, 48 years of continuous service on the committee, vice president, just fills in everything. Trevor Howard, we already went through his CV. Wama, various roles on the committee, including vice president, key organiser for Heritage Day and past players. Trevor Scorer, over 50 years with involvement of the footy club, holds a pretty good stat here. 200 games as a player, 200 games as a coach, 200 games as an umpire.
Jeez.
So over 600.
Bit of numerology.
Bit of 600 games of involvement, but great fella. Faggy, Gary Fagg, nearly 50 years of involvement as well. Not so much as a player, but MC over the years, involved in fundraising and social events. Betty Lohman, she was our club secretary for 16 years. Steve Noodles, Godden, 55 years of involvement. Like, he was our club historian, MC, and he's been a key member of our Past Players Association. Lukey Matthews, obviously a pretty distinguished player, but has stayed around for another 45 years involvement of the club. He's been a runner, been a manager, so always helping out. Guys like Ian Moore, like, he spent 20 years as a league manager. Scotty Crook, Snake, great player, had great playing careers, but stuck around and spent 15 years on the committee until as president. Fronny, Andrew Frontino, he's inducted into the Hall of Fame now. So, he spent a lot of time as president, was a A-grade captain as well. Mara, Stephen Marovic, 300-game player, life member, 10 years on the committee, and 5 of those were vice president. Cameron Grant, who was the fullback, kicking the goal in the grand final. So he's spent 12 years on the committee, still on the committee, and he's spent 8 years as treasurer. Tommy Vojkovic, he's nearing our games record now. So spent 9 years on the committee. 9 of those years he probably single-handedly ran the social committee as well. Been a sponsor for 15 years, does all our club signage. Trevor Eden, currently our club and grounds manager. He's an absolute workhorse. Probably spends about 5 days at the club cleaning up after everyone. And then, probably our current president, Robbo, is our longest serving president for 8 years. He's just helped reshape our administration. Was PFL Administrator of the Year in 2023.
Great, lovely. And the club has obviously moved back to Inglewood Oval over the last few years, a full circle moment for you guys. Tell us a bit about how that came back to be and the upgrade of Inglewood Oval and how you got back there.
So a long time coming for a lot of members, especially on the committee. It was always talked about and always gone backwards and forwards, back to the council and things like that. But it finally happened. The Hamer Park in Inglewood redevelopment was completed in 2022. Full circle moment for the club. So obviously back to where we started at Inglewood. A lot of guys from the 60s and 70s knew it as a coming home project. So, great new facilities. We're now tenanted with the Perth Baseball Club, which has been great. With obviously 2 driving committees that really want success and sustainability for their sporting clubs. Brand new facilities, great facilities for the canteen and bar, and it presents itself as a great game day experience as well. So we've got an audio visual system that's accessible for out in the stands and things like that. So pre-game music pump up, halftime music during the games. It's a great atmosphere. It's family friendly. It's and it just brings the community together. So it's great facilities is good, but it's what you do with it, and the way that you utilise those facilities is what really counts.
Definitely. Now 7 games into the year so far. How are the club positioned on field? Obviously men's, women's, and Colts programs. How are they all going together?
First of all, with our Colts program, massive effort that we've actually fielding 2 Colts sides this year. Drew Bamford Colts are sitting equal top, sitting second, just out by a percentage. Our newly formed Brett Jones Colts got on the board early. They're playing some really good footy. On the weekend, they challenged the top side TAs, only just going down by 3 points. A couple of father and sons products rolling around in there. So, shout out to Benny Crook and Julian Pineri. So, both their fathers were former presidents of the club. So, good to see some father and sons and youth rolling through our Colts. Pretty optimistic with our Colts program this year. So, they've shown some really good signs. Our women's, they're on a pretty good hot streak at the moment. So, sitting 4th on the ladder, they've notched up 4 wins in a row. So, on a bit of a roll. Our C4s, so our reserves are our lowest grade. So, our C4 reserves are currently undefeated, sitting on top. on top equal by, sitting second only by a percentage. Obviously, our C4 reserves at the bottom of the club, so there's a lot of changes. And we got
in and out.
four senior sides, so there's a lot of turnover in our side. So, Tommy Vojkovic is doing a great job getting the guys together and still being able to put wins on the board there. And then our C4 league teams, they're a game clear in the 5 as well. So, things are looking pretty good. Showing that we've got a lot of depth within our club. So hopefully we can keep the momentum going with the C4 grades. Our B grade sides, our reserves, they dropped the opening game by a couple of points against Wembley, but I've won 5 games in a row, so on a bit of a hot streak as well. So, Dave Lyons has got the boys rolling pretty good. Our league side, sitting undefeated, sitting on top of the ladder at the moment. We've been challenged with injuries and the like. We lost our captain, Nathan Eden, to an ACL in the first round, which is a bit deflating for him and the club. Obviously, coming over from East Perth. His dad is Trevor Eden, which I mentioned before, a club stalwart, and we're all feeling for him. And but with it also gives opportunities, right? It was one soldier down, next soldier in mentality. So it gives an opportunity for a couple of younger kids as well. A couple of good recruits. Taylor North coming in from East Perth, Sasha Kernett from West Perth, who was a part of the 2022 West Perth Premiership side. Spider Lockett from East Perth, and Xander Jones, who's a young guy out of Swan District. So, they matched up with good season players like Campbell Abbott, Cody Rogers, Kieran Orslop, Zach Drono, who's now on West Coast Waffle list as well, and Nathan Blee. We also had Julian Amajuri and Alex Vernon coming out of retirement to help out this year. So appreciate those boys putting back on the boots. So
always helps.
A couple of young guns making their mark in league footy as well. So Tyron Virgo, Cooper Matthews, Paddy Weldon, Cooper Anderson, and Adam Peters. They're cementing their spots in the league side.
Yep. And obviously with a lot of teams, what's the makeshift of the numbers look like these days at the sort of members of the club? Yeah,
so funny you asked that. Like I actually ran a Play HQ report not too long ago. So only 35% of the players actually live like within our local area. So 65% of our players actually travel and drive past other footy clubs to actually get into our and play footy for us. So it's a pretty big stat, and it probably comes down to the ageing demographic of Mount Lawley Inglewood, but it's also other drivers of why are these players coming here. It's the connections that they have either with family, they've played junior footy like in the area and then have moved out, or it's like other connections like with coaches or other friendship groups coming back in and playing footy together.
Yep. Dean, thank you very much for having a chat about Mount Lawley history. It's been a great little podcast, and obviously thanks to the PFL for having us here. And if you've got any other shout outs you want to give, go for it now.
Obviously, thanks to the PFL and for the opportunity for jumping on and getting some exposure. Just our partners, Diamond and Gold gold sponsors. So, Chakra, Indian Restaurant, Direct DPD, Craig Taylor, thank you very much. Air Control, Allianz Surveying, the Civic Hotel, AVC, big supporters of the footy club. Obviously we can't do it without sponsorship and volunteers. So, appreciate all your time. And, thank you again to the PFL for having us on and giving us the opportunity.
Yep. And thank you to Marty and Andy Bairstow for Independent Laboratory Supplies for sponsoring the podcast as well. Big help for the club.
Yep. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Everyone, thank you for joining us today with the Perth Footy League and Mount Lawley Football Club.